came to me in a dream, like a subconscious impulse. I could see it right in front of me. I could see it right in front of me.
Yeah, I don't really know what to call my music yet, but I'm just kind of telling people I'm influenced by like Prodigy and DJ Shadow, and I'm obviously like a massive punk, but I'm writing like electro tunes. I'm not really sure.
And you started out in the punk genre as your sort of your first music love, as
Yeah.
I understand. So that's gone on to inform your musical evolution, if you will.
Yeah, completely. Like when I was about 12, I was watching MTV and there was like this band called the Towers of London, and they were like poser punks, I guess you would think, but for me being 12, I was like, this is everything, this is so cool. And then my cousin, I was like, have you heard of the Towers of London? They're punk. And she was just like, nah mate, that's not punk. And then she just like showed me all this stuff. And my dad as well, he's a massive Buzzcocks, Sex Pistols, UK Subs, Crass fan. He loves like, he's always played that stuff. So yeah, they set me straight on the right path instead of the poser stuff that was on MTV.
Yeah. none of that pop punk.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I did go through a massive pop punk phase as well. Being a drummer, I love Travis Barker, and I love
He's a good drummer.
Yeah, incredible. And Billy Talent as well. A massive fan of them.
So which song do you want to start off with?
Okay, let's play a bit of the first single.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, there's a little clip there for you.
Okay, yeah, that was the Oxygen Tank.
Yeah, so that was the first single, Oxygen Tank. Yeah, basically I was coming home from like working at Viva La Rock. I was living in just off King's Road in London, which is obviously where like the Sex Pistols met and where Vivienne Westwood started, and all of that great juju around there with like, you know, the Chelsea drugstore, like Rolling Stones vibes and everything. So I used to come home and write music, and I was basically just trying to find a really catchy riff. I wasn't even trying to care about the drums or the chords or anything like that. I was just like trying to find a riff, you know, and a great synth, and then it just went.
Something that just hooked that hooked you.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, no one cares about any of this other stuff. People just need that hook, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. What grabbed my attention from the outset was the sample that you used. It sounds like it's something maybe lifted off an old science fiction movie.
We're definitely going for a sci-fi vibe. The whole EP is called Orbit, and it's all like references to do with space. And that was my sort of overarching theme of it. Yeah, we were trying to make synthesizers that gave that like 1970s theremin kind of vibe.
I can definitely pick that up in there.
Like just trying to make it a bit more analog and more like real, because obviously when you're working in the computer, everything can go a bit flat, and you really need to like this song's quite emotional. Like if you watch the video and listen to it, you really feel something. So that was my main achievement, like, well, what I tried to achieve anyway, like to just move people with it, because there's so much EDM out there, and like not all of it, most of it doesn't do that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but very cool on that though, doing all the original with that, because it definitely brought that sort of retro sci-fi B movie undertone to it. That's like, it makes you kind of listen, you know. It's like, what is that? You know, where is that from? And it's like you almost want to start looking for the sample on it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. That's cool. So that one came out in 2020 in March, and it was just basically me saying like, I'm here. I haven't had an album, or I didn't have an EP released at the time. I was just like, let me just put stamp my foot in the sand and be like, I'm an artist, because I was playing so many gigs but just like no original songs. So that was what that was.
Yeah. And how was the reception you got on that?
Yeah, man, it was so good. Like, to be honest, I was really freaking out because, like I said, I'm a punk and that's not punk. And everyone was super supportive. Like Steve Ignorant from Crass, like shared it with his fans, and
Awesome.
and idols, like they listened to it, and I know the bass player like said there was a banger, and they've got like a #1 album now. So just to have like kudos from people like that just makes me like so proud, you know.
Makes you feel like you're sort of on the right track.
Yeah, and I got like so many reviews, probably like 30 different reviews from different blogs, music blogs and stuff like that, and like everyone was super positive. I don't even think I got anything bad, so that was like shocking. It was like, what, you're convinced that I'm actually a bit of an artist or something? Like I don't know if I'm convinced yet, but thank you.
Well, I think it's the imposter syndrome that we all suffer from.
Totally, yeah, totally. Like fake it till you make it, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, have you had an opportunity to drop it in with a crowd?
Yeah. I actually played this gig right before lockdown. It was lucky that I got it in because there was 3,000 people in a stadium, like up in the Midlands, and I dropped it then because I was just like, gotta do it, and it went down really well. Everybody's like dancing and enjoying it, and it sort of passed, so that was good.
Good. Didn't clear the floor.
No, exactly. You got to like sandwich it in between some big tunes. I know.
How did it feel to see a group of people moving to something you created?
This is gonna sound really stupid, but it, like, actually makes you tear up. Like, it's so beautiful.
It's that feeling of appreciation that you're getting back from the audience.
Definitely, you're just like, I created something that's making people happy right now, and it's just like amazing.
Absolutely, and isn't that kind of what drives us to
Yeah,
create music?
totally. I mean, like, I've looked into a lot of psychology and like read a lot of books and about how if you seek fame, or if you are like trying to be famous, then you're basically mentally ill because you're like trying to get too much attention, which no human should really have. So like, obviously you see the people at the top that are really mentally affected by it, but like I've never done it for that. I've always been a musician from age like 3. I was like, I want a harmonica, I want a guitar, and I like practice and learn, and I do like making people happy, but mostly I just love to create. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and just share the love of music.
Exactly. Yeah, I just love talking about it all the time.
Yeah, it's a great unifier, community builder.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Right, shall I try and play the next one?
Yeah, by all means. What do we got next?
Jungle War.
All right.
So this is the last track on Orbit, but actually it shouldn't have been on that EP because it doesn't have a space theme. It's got a jungle theme. I was moving fast with the songwriting at that time.
It is a jungle war in which patrols must anticipate an ambush at any instant. At any instant. At any instant.
So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a newscast sample from the Vietnam War.
Oh, thank you, because that's what I was going for. Well,
yeah, I props to you on that one, Paula. You gave me I got the chicken skin on that one.
Yeah, man, it was totally a Vietnam War protest song.
Yeah, very cool, very well done on that one. I'm loving that.
Yeah, it was kind of about the misuse of like LSD on the Vietnam War soldiers. Because I was kind of intrigued by the fact that happened. So that was what that tune was.
Yeah, good backstory on that as well.
Yeah, you gotta have a backstory, man.
Absolutely, it's right up there with your artist statement.
Yeah, it's got to mean something, hasn't it? Otherwise.
Absolutely.
that's the thing. Like, at first, you used to start writing like riffs and stuff, and then people keep asking you what everything means. And then just like, all right, okay, you're gonna ask me what it means. I'm gonna come up with some really mad stuff. I'm gonna say it in interviews now, because otherwise, it's just like, it's just a riff, it's just a tune. It doesn't mean anything, you know.
Yeah. Hey, it just made me happy.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's good enough. You know
Yeah.
what? It just gave me the good feels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to write jungle music. I had no idea what I was doing, so it's at totally the wrong tempo, but it worked.
Yeah. No, I think it turned out really cool.
Thank you.
That you know, sample effect in there. Once again, you seem to have a real knack for getting that retro effect in there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was really inspired by Public Service Broadcasting, who are a band who did the album, which they have no vocals on apart from like recordings from the first moon landing. And it's a beautiful album, and it's amazing, and it's a real rock band. You go see them live and they like play the samples and play the tunes live, drummer, bassist, guitarist, and I just thought, hey, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. Well, and that's you know, and that's the punk element to it as well. It's like, do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't worry about what everybody else is just doing. Just do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. So what do we got lined up next? This is fun.
Yeah, it's cool. Thank you. I'm hoping this is a good version. Yeah, because there's like heaps of versions on my computer at the moment, because I'm still finalizing the mix.
All right.
So we'll go with this one.
All right.
There's no way to act.
He's a beauty. She's a beauty.
Yeah, Caramel.
Very cool. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It starts out. It feels it starts out kind of like a minimalist sort of track, and then it kind of morphs into sort of a broken beat vibe, which is, you know, it's just you can just sit there with the headphones on with that one.
Yeah, definitely. It's not exactly a club banger. It's more like an emotional kind of track. I wanted to write something that started with the piano, and even though the piano is really simplistic in that, it's got the strings and that kind of slow vibe, and then
That caught me right from the outset as well.
Cool. Yeah, and I just wanted to be a bit more like DJ Shadow, because I love his stuff, which really like slowly and gradually takes you to a completely different place by the end of the song. So yeah, that tune starts at like 140 and it goes up to like 170. Yeah, like halfway through, and then it becomes like a dance track after that.
Yeah, it feels like it's got a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, definitely. Like loads of time spent just like writing extra parts on different synthesizers. There's lots going on under the surface. But yeah, like the sample I used there was like kind of like misogynistic old like Hollywood stuff. Like
it sounded like it was something like from a 40s era film.
Yeah,
you know?
like I think I found it and I just thought that was so cringy. Like I wanted to use it like ironically, because the way he's speaking about women, like a woman's like a horse, it's just funny, you know. So it's kind of like a feminist statement. It's kind of like, how ridiculous that someone could speak that way about us like 50 years ago.
It's just that dying old patriarchy, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, you get it across all kind of all races and all sexes when you go back into those old Hollywood films. The way they speak about Native Americans, Black people, women, all kinds of different people. I mean, it's shocking, isn't it? Like to see how far.
Yeah. And some really horrific tropes, you know, that have been perpetuated by the industry as well.
Yeah. It's crazy. So it's. I mean, I don't believe in. A lot of people think we should erase like parts of history. I don't believe in that. I mean, should be there for us to see, like, warts and all. So I just kind of like digging up something dirty and just being like, deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta be able to shine a magnifying glass on the history.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, sure, they may have done a few good things, but it doesn't override all the bad things they did, and they need to be called out for those as well, not just exalted for one or two good things they may have done.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know, Hollywood is like a huge beast that we've all fueled. We love the cinema, we love entertainment, and you can't just isolate it and be like, oh, now it's evil, or now these movies are cancelled. You have to like accept your part in it, and I don't know, it's part of the human race. We're always learning, aren't we? It's interesting to look at. Yeah,
we've all fed the beast by in our desire for escapism.
Exactly. All right, do you want another track?
Absolutely, bring it on.
All right, so Unheard, world exclusive. Probably shouldn't play it, probably don't have the rights, but I've remixed Tetris, so I hope you enjoy it.
Very cool.
People covered the whole land as the waves of a wind-ruffled sea covers its shore. That time has long since passed away with the greatness of tribes almost forgotten. Tribes almost forgotten. Tribes almost forgotten. Tribes almost forgotten. Tribes almost forgotten.
So yeah.
it's like 8-bit with a bit of gravitas to it.
Yeah, definitely.
With that sample in the background.
Yeah.
And I have a personal thing about horns. I personally can't stand them.
Oh my god, everyone's saying that. Okay, maybe I do need to lose the horns. All right, so basically I trying to put a horn in like every song I've written so far, because they're just like drum and bass. I don't know, they're just like the holy grail like of jungle drum and bass music. Like every track like has a horn in it, so I was just like, I've got to have the horn, and I like put it in my tracks, and I was like so proud. I was like, yeah, this is the bit with the horn. And like my mate who produces me is like, I don't like that. My boyfriend's like, I don't like that. Other people like, I don't like that. Now you're like, I don't like that. So maybe it's time. Maybe the world's moved on.
Maybe, yeah. I've never been a fan of the horn myself.
I've even gone as far as trying to make the horn work by like manipulating the key of it to fit the song. Yeah. And even then it doesn't work, so whatever.
Funny. Well, you don't know until you start experimenting around with these things, and that's a rabbit hole unto itself.
Yeah, exactly. And it also covers up like a massive tempo shift, which otherwise doesn't work. It's like it goes, that song as well goes from 140 to 170 in about 2 bars. It just goes
it's a pretty rapid shift.
Yeah, so I mean I spent probably a day on the entire song and like a month on that tempo change.
Not surprising.
Just trying to make it work. I was like,
devil in the details.
Yeah,
absolutely. But it's cool. It's got that fun 8-bit flavor to it with that that sort of Russian undertone.
Yeah, definitely. When I was like 16, I used to go to parties, and they were like, it was like early 2000s, and it was like everyone was massively into that Nintendo 8-bit sound, and all the music had that, and it was just like a massive craze at the time. So I guess that's in there somewhere, like in my mind. I'm just like, I don't know, just inspired by that.
And growing up with Tetris being so ubiquitous in gaming culture as well.
Yeah, exactly. It crosses over from like kids from the 80s, 90s up till now. Like my brother is 18, my parents are in their 50s. Like it's just so universal. Like we all get it.
Absolutely. I'm from the Pac-Man generation. So.
Oh, right on, brother. Okay, so we're into like the mashups and remixes now. So we've done Tetris, and now this is the Ramones Blitzkrieg Bop versus Sex Pistols Pretty Vacant. Two like of my favorite songs that happen to be in the same key, and nobody ever thought of it before me. Like I was born 100 years into popular music and 50 years after these songs were released, and thank God I came up with an idea that no one had thought of. So here it is.
The only thing that makes me mad about this tune, Paula, is the fact that I didn't think of it first. But they, those two tracks play so well together.
Yeah, I know.
Like the vocals meld back and forth so seamlessly.
Yeah, thank you. It's just don't know. Basically, I just spent a day, like 10, 12 hours straight, just sitting there, like playing and chopping up the acapellas and playing the bass, playing the guitar, and then hammering stuff out on the synth, making the drums, and just like putting in loads of bizarre sounds. Like there's just risers and like scratches, like vinyl scratches, whistles, like everything, just to kind of like make it trashy kind of dance music.
Well, you need some vinyl scratches for 270s bands.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's got
absolutely. I know all my Ramones albums had a lot of scratches on them.
Yeah, exactly. And for the video, like there's a video coming out soon, which is made by the drummer from the UK subs, Jamie. Mm-hmm. And he's incredible. He made like the video to Oxygen Tank, and it was just kind of like a mate doing something for 50 quid, and it ended up like being so incredible. I was just like, I feel really guilty, like you deserve like £1,000. Like, and so I was just like, you definitely got to do the next video. So we did this one, and we got like Glenn Matlock, the original bass player from the Sex Pistols, like involved, and we went round his house and met him, and like he filmed some scenes like walking down the street with me, and we're both like singing the songs and like dancing. It was incredible. And then we went to Ed Tudorpole's house, and he was like the singer of the Sex Pistols during the great rock and roll swindle period. And he also was the lead singer of Tenpole Tudor, and he was like on TV a lot in loads of stuff. So he invited us around his house too. And then we filmed in his garden, and then we went for a walk with his dog afterwards. And I was just like, this is what music's all about. Like, you know, like someone younger, like talking to somebody who's like really been there and done loads with their life and music, just like walking and creating stuff and just like chatting, vibing. It was really cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure a good well of inspiration for you, going forward as well.
Yeah, definitely. He was like, I played in the song and he was just like, Paula, this is magnificent. And I was just like, what? And he went, oh, how did you do it? I just can't get my head around it. He's like, this is so good. I really like it. And then like he even wrote to me like a week later and was like, I've been telling all my friends, and some of my friends have been saying mashups aren't that hard. But I don't care what they say because I think it sounds really clever.
Well, it's the hard part is picking the tracks to play nice together.
Yeah, definitely. And like you're probably the same, but if I listen to the radio and I hear like a riff that is in another song or something, then I automatically am storing that, just like those songs will mix together. Like there's some horror songs that fit with like Led Zeppelin songs and some Who songs that fit with like Slave songs, and you just like store it all and you're just like, this would be so clever to just make that happen live, and people love it. Yeah, man. Like, oh, well, think about all those like original disco tracks and funk tracks that
Absolutely.
that lent themselves to hip hop. You can still go back and take those loops and you can still like put new acapellas over them. Like it's so endless. And like
It's amazing what the technology affords us now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've learned the old school way of taking two records and creating loops like Grandmaster Flash style. I'm not saying like I'm anywhere like I'm not like good enough to do it live probably, but I can do it at home. I'm still learning, but I understand how that works. And then I understand how on this console I can do that in a different way. I can like create loops differently and like save stuff differently. So it's good to go back, like for any young DJs, it's good to not take shortcuts. It's good to like understand like both sides of the coin, you know?
Absolutely, because it all adds to your toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. And people love it. Like if you're actually spinning back the tracks, even though it's unnecessary as a DJ now, like you can press a button and go on auto loop. People like watching you spin back the tracks. So it's just a performance technique, isn't it, as well?
Absolutely, and an easy way to get out of a fumbled mix.
Yeah.
One of my trademarks.
This is the fumbler.
Yeah.
Coming up next.
Any artists out there that you're really enjoying right now?
Billy No Mates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know her?
Yeah, her voice just throws a hook into me every time.
Yeah, she's awesome. I learned about her through Sleaford Mods. I love them too. The new album's great. I really dig in like Chris Constantino, who's the guy. He was the bass player from Adamant's band. He played like Live Aid and everything. It's like a big star. And now he's like working with this younger rapper, this really cool girl called Rude Girl. And they've got a new album and they're just like covering like Clash songs and stuff. The reason I like that is because so many of these tunes are like 40, 50 years old, and it's just like a free-all right now for like people to reproduce them like in a good way, not in a rubbish way. Like, you know, when a remix of Red Hot Chili Peppers By the Way comes out and you're just like, why did you do this? Like,
yeah, it's cringy.
Yeah, exactly. But just for someone to do it well and put it back on the dance floor, oh, people love it. And it's just exactly what we need for like when the festivals come back, you know?
I get it. Sometimes I feel like an analog dinosaur in a digital world.
Yeah, exactly. Like my dream of recording, if I could go back in time, would probably be like Sound City, where Fleetwood Mac and Nirvana and all those great bands recorded.
Absolutely. Yeah. The bygone days.
Yeah.
But then again, the technology we have at our fingertips now, for a home studio far exceeds, what they were working with even 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, but there's a lot to be said for like magic in a certain feel. Like, say if Japan, like a Japanese like warehouse or factory, pump out 2,000 cheap plastic guitars and you just get your hands on the one that was made completely perfectly, and even though it was only $70, like it just has magic. There's just something to be said for certain mixing desks, studios, times, to try and recreate that at home. I don't know, you got to turn into Lee Perry and start like burning weed smoke into the tapes and stuff, and like burying microphones onto the ground.
Periodically burn your studio down.
Yeah, burn the whole thing down just to get the vibe.
I remember when I saw Lee Perry in Vancouver, he was just basically surrounded by a cloud and just using the microphone stand to hold himself up.
Yeah, he's a legend. I saw him down here in Guildford, and he was just like orange beard, like covered in trinkets and stuff. He just looked amazing, and he's like late 70s now. He's a real like classic dude. And he just like got handed a joint on stage, and then he handed it to me. So yeah, I'm gonna say I smoked the joint with Lee Perry. Sober now.
You don't want to be rude.
Yeah, I didn't want to be rude. That's the thing. You wouldn't do that in these COVID times.
No.
Get your own.
I think those days are over.
Yeah, exactly. All the good times are gone, man. You can't even share a roll up anymore.
And my kind of preferred DJ style is I have the sense that artists, you know, they've created a track in a specific way for a reason, and I think I owe it to them to play the bulk of their track. I know there's a lot of DJs out there that like to mix in and out very quickly and that sort of thing, but for me, I prefer to, you know, play it all out for the most part. And,
yeah,
you know,
same as
really,
me.
you know,
yeah, definitely.
really display the artist's work along the way.
Yeah, especially like when I was in Cambodia, I was mixing like drum and bass and jungle, and some of those tunes like 4.5, 5 minutes long, but there's no dull section. Like the whole of the song is crazy exciting, and you can just play them back to back, and everyone will just really enjoy it because all the peaks and troughs are in the right place, all the slow bits are in the right place, everything's there, and it just like the dynamics of how it like moves is just perfect, and it's just tried and tested. You don't really have to work that hard, do you?
No, and sometimes it feels like if you cut it short, you're doing a disservice to the artist.
Yeah.
You know?
One thing I do like doing is like just drop it, like waiting for the drop and then dropping in something else, and then waiting for that drop and then dropping it back to the other tune, just because like it's quite easy to do. And it's just like shocks people so much. They're like, oh my God, I didn't think you was going to do that. That's nuts.
As long as the dance floor is moving.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like you're doing your job. Like, let's see.
Exactly.
I mixed something then. Did you see that?
So unfortunately for us, sometimes, you know, the audience doesn't really care about our technical skills. They only care if you're playing music they like.
Yeah, definitely. I've had like, I don't know, the odd rude person. Like I had these guys, New Zealand guys, come up to me in like Vietnam, and they were like, we came just for you. We've been looking at you online and we love you, and we've just come to your DJ set for you, and we're all on holiday. And it was like, started off really good. And then like halfway through my set, like one of them just started getting like really angry with me and like shouting over the decks, like more drum and bass, more drum and bass. And I was playing jungle and drum and bass, but he was like kind of like intimidating, and it was just like he was like trying to make me change what I was doing, and I was just like, he ended up like having to get someone to just stop him talking to me because he was just like really obnoxious. It was like, mate, you don't know what music is if you don't understand that jungle and drum and bass are like in the same family, and this isn't what you want. It's like the same beat. Do you know what I mean? And he was just like kicking off about it.
I think pretty much anybody who's ever DJed for a regular crowd has experienced that one. You know,
Yeah.
one of my favorites was I had Bootsy's Rubber Band on the decks, and I had these two rather inebriated women hanging over the booth. Like, can you play something funky? I just looked, I was like, this is a Bootsy. It doesn't get any funkier. Get out of my face. Go away.
I know.
If you don't know Bootsy, you don't know funk.
I've seen videos online of people like trying to order sambuca over at the DJ booth, trying to order drinks. They're just like, you're too wasted, mate. Just step away.
I'm not. This isn't the bartender you're looking for.
Yeah, I've had one where I played like quite a posh party, and this girl like just smashed their glass in the middle of the floor, and it just killed it a bit because obviously everyone was like, it was packed, and then it was just like all this broken glass. And she came up to me whilst I was DJing and was just like, "Excuse me, I've broken a glass. What should I do?" And I was like, "Get the bar, get to the bar, get the bartender. Like, do you want me to come and sweep it up?" We just turn the music off, mate. Like, I don't work here.
Yeah, turn the music off, throw the house lights up, and point at her and say, "She broke a glass."
A posh person's broken a glass. We all have to make them still believe the fantasy that the world revolves around them, everyone.
Oh, reassure her she's still precious.
So special.
So what? Have you got any other tracks that you started working on?
Yeah, so I'm working on the first Alfred Hitchcock film was called The Pleasure Garden, and it was released in 1925, and it was a silent movie, and it's kind of crazy film about like a dancer and like lots of affairs and stuff like that. And I wrote like a whole album to go with it. It's like an hour long to just go like cool. Side by side with the film. Yeah, so by 2025, I'm hoping like for the 100th year anniversary, I can release that and just like play the clubs with projectors of the film. But yeah.
that would be very cool.
Hopefully, yeah. I think I'm really proud of it so far. Like I've showed a few people and they dig the concept and they like what I've done with the music. So it's quite a good way to write an album actually, because you don't have to think about any inspiration. You just watch the film and you just go, oh, like I'm gonna make this sound, you know.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it's like a full-on soundtrack to go with it. It sounds very interactive. I like that. All right, so yeah, I'm looking forward to these tracks being released and celebrating that with you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.